Hey everyone, I'm just checking in with you guys again just to give you an update. Today is exactly 4 weeks since I had my colectomy. I can't believe it's been a month already. In 2 weeks I head back to work already, which is, I guess, a good thing. I've kind of gotten used to being off work. I thought it would be a hard transition to get into, and it was about a week where I had thinking, oh, I need to get up, I need to go to work, I need to be productive. And then after about a week, you just kind of fall right into the, hey, sleeping in is nice, I don't have to shower if I don't want to. But anyways, I had my first post-op check last Thursday. I met with the nurse practitioner for the surgeon. I met with the nurse practitioner for my GI. I met with my ostomy nurse, and then I also had a separate appointment with my hepatologist to follow up on my primary sclerosing cholangitis, or the PSC, my liver diagnosis. So first of all, let me backpedal a little bit. It's been 4 weeks. I am completely off all of the steroids now. The big thing with that, I was on a low dose, but the big thing with that is I've noticed I'm sleeping a lot better. I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours. When I was on the steroids, even a low dose, it was about 5 to 6 hours and I was up and awake. So that's a good thing. I didn't have a lot of withdrawal symptoms as far as joint achiness or things like that. So I'm off all medications right now. I'm not taking anything, which is kind of nice. In regards to the bag, I'm emptying it about 5 times a day, I would say, and it's staying thicker. If you remember my earlier videos, I said you want it to be kind of pudding oatmeal consistency. It's staying that thick. And my eating schedule, I'm kind of eating every hour or two, just a little bit, all throughout the day. And that way I can drink water as I'm eating, and I found that pasta and rice are probably the two best things that really seem to bulk up the stool or the output. Because I was a big water drinker before this, so it's kind of hard to know I have to put something in my mouth food-wise before I drink, and you can't take huge amount. I can't drink like a whole glass of water at a time. It's a lot of smaller sips or a half cup at a time. But I've transitioned okay with that. There have been 2 days where I had a little bit of watery output for a couple hours. It wasn't bad, it wasn't like diarrhea, but I noticed it was much more watery than previous, and I attributed that because I had had more water than usual on those days. So I'm drinking, I would say 6 to 8 ounce glasses of liquid a day. Usually 6 of those are at least water. So that's, that was a little bit of an adjustment, but not a big deal. Because you really want to make sure you do not get dehydrated, and I don't think that I've noticed that at all. The other thing is, because I still have my rectum intact, which will come out in the next surgery, and the rectum does make mucus, I have been passing mucus, sitting on the toilet, just, like going to the bathroom like normal. I would say once a day, sometimes every other day, and the nurse practitioner said this is normal because the rectum does make mucus. But because the rectum is more or less part of the colon, and that is still intact, you can still have colitis. So I'm wondering if a little bit of this isn't leftover colitis. The nurse practitioner said if it does get to be bad, or I'm noticing some blood, that could be inflammation still, and then they could give me some enemas or steroid foam to put up in there to help with the inflammation. But I'm going to try to stay away from that stuff just because they can thin the tissues and make healing a little bit harder, and when I go into my second surgery, I don't want to have any issues with that. So, and it's not the same urgency as you had with colitis. You have the urge to go, but it's not like you need to run to the bathroom or squeeze your butt together to hold it or anything like that. And it's something that you can hold for hours because there's not a whole lot of contents in there, if you will. So it hasn't become very bothersome yet. It's usually in the morning time, so that's not a big deal. In regards to the bag, I've changed to the opaque bags now, or the bags that you can't see through. So that's pleasing to a lot of other people, especially if they want to look at it. But I wanted the see-through bags initially just so I could see the consistency of the output, and also to be able to look at the stoma every now and then, because it was all still new to me. But now that I'm comfortable with everything, the opaque bags are fine. I've also gotten the Ostomy belt, which is a thin band that you put around. I can actually show you real quick. And I got this from my ostomy nurse the other day. This fits, these two clips fit onto the parts of the two-piece bag, and I'll show you in a minute, and go around your waist and help hold the flange against the skin. I've kind of found this to be a little bothersome unless the bag starts to get full, in which case it helps hold the bag against your skin a little more and it's not hanging down so much, but so I'm still getting a little used to this. The other thing is there is a little bit of folliculitis or inflammation of the hair follicles from the adhesive on the bag, which my nurse gave me some powder and stuff to put on in addition to the stoma powder. And it's not bad. Every once in a while it seems to get a little itchy, but other than that, no issues with the adhesive or burning of the skin or anything like that. I have had just two small leaks. One was I tried to put the bag on without the ring barrier. There's an extra, what I call a donut ring, of sticky material that I've been putting inside the bag around the ring and then putting that on my skin. But one time I tried without it because the adhesive from that donut ring was kind of building up on my skin. And I found that part of the flange from the bag actually raised up a little bit and some output did leak into that area. It didn't leak outside the adhesive around the bag. So it didn't get on anything other than my skin a little bit, and there were no issues on my skin. So I did find that I do need to keep that barrier ring or that donut ring as the main source of preventing leaks. And then yesterday I woke up and I saw a little bit of a mark on my bed sheets, and I looked at the bottom of my bag, and somehow there was a small slice that got in the bag. I don't know how that happened or what happened, but it wasn't a huge mess. Like I said, it was just a small spot that I noticed. But those are the only two issues that I've had with the bag. So that's a good thing. And I do still take the emergency bag when I go out, if I'm going to be gone for a long time or out somewhere else. So I'll keep that in mind. I did schedule my second surgery for January 14th of 2013, and I'll be off for another 6 weeks after that one. And what they do in that procedure is they will remove the rectum as well as any rectal tissue and strip everything down to all that's remaining is what they call the anal canal, and that's your sphincter and those nerve endings that allow you to feel when you have to go to the bathroom and control the muscle to hold the waist back. Then they're also going to take my end ileostomy that I currently have. They're going to take that down and pull the end of my ileum or my small bowel, small intestine. They're going to pull that down to the anal canal, and then the surgeon has to actually hand sew those two pieces together. Now, because they have to pull and stretch the small intestine as well as what they call the mesentery, which is all the blood supply to the small bowel, because they have to stretch all that down, the surgeon wants me to be as thin as I can safely, because the thinner that you are, the easier and more pliable that mesentery tissue is to stretch down. He's found that people that tend to be overweight, he has trouble pulling and stretching the tissues down. So I'm maintaining about 190 right now. I was 195 before surgery. So I'll probably try to get down about 185 and just sort of maintain that until surgery. So anyways, they hand sew the small intestine to the anal canal, and then because they've taken the end of the small intestine, which is my ileostomy right now, they've taken that down and sewed it to the anal canal. My ostomy will actually be a different kind of ostomy, what they call a loop ileostomy. And what they'll do in the second surgery is the new piece of small bowel that happens to be passing by my ostomy opening, they'll actually bring to the surface, they'll cut that intestine open. I think it's like a half cut, and they'll bring that part up to the abdominal wall, and that will be my new ileostomy. So I'll still have a bag again, but the fitting of the flange and the appliances over the ostomy are a little bit different, because with a loop ileostomy, the small intestine doesn't come out of the abdominal wall as nicely as it does on an end ileostomy. So there'll be a little bit of an adjustment with the new type of bags and things like that to get through. Plus, this surgery will be what they call an open procedure, which means it won't be done laparoscopically. And the surgeon said, right below my belly button going vertically down, he'll put an incision. He said he'll try to keep it as small as possible, but he needs to do it open because this surgery can be a lot more complicated. There's a lot more technical finesse involved because of the genitalia nerves, because of the bladder nerves and things like that. So this will be an open procedure, which of course means the recovery afterwards might be a little rougher, harder, longer than my first surgery. But I will still have the same problems with my bowel after the surgery of having to wait until the bag farts again, so then I know my bowels are waking up. I'll still have that process of letting the bowels wake up until I can eat food again. I'll be on a low residue diet again for 4 to 6 weeks, that whole same process. So that's what's going to happen in January. That will be the hardest of the surgeries. This one I had 4 weeks ago was probably the medium one. The one in January will be the most difficult. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of that. I did have just some odds and ends questions and things I've experienced that have come up. One is this week I'm going to fly back to Michigan, where I'm from, to visit family and my partner and stuff. So I talked with the ostomy nurse there. She actually gave me a prescription to show the security officials at the airport, if needed, that I have an ostomy and I need these supplies and things like that. I don't think there'll be an issue because there's no metal involved in any of this, so I don't anticipate there'll be an issue, but just in case, she did give me that. I also got my letter from my nurse practitioner for the surgeon to return to work, that I'll be off all lifting restrictions in 2 more weeks. So I got that taken care of. In regards to my weight, I was kind of down to 186, and I noticed I was having trouble keeping weight on, and I think it's because I wasn't eating enough. So now I'm up to about 190, so I've adjusted how much I'm eating and what I'm eating, and kind of just maintaining the 190. And I realized once I get back to work, that's probably going to be a little harder to do because work doesn't lend itself to eating every hour or two. It's usually breakfast before work, work 4 hours, then lunch, then work, come home and a snack, that sort of thing. So there'll probably be an adjustment with that as I figure out what's going to work best for my work environment. In regards to the bag, I'm going to show you the new bag, which I said is opaque, so you can't see through it. So anyone who was worried about that, when I show the bag, if it was just because you didn't want to see waste, you can't really see it. But I just wanted to give you a look at what the new bag looks like. My laparoscopic incision sites, my stomach and everything looks back to normal. It's not swollen anymore. So I'll give you a look of what that looks like. So you can see, you can't see through the bag. I'm in jeans. I tend to wear my jeans lower anyway, so it's not really running into the bottom of the bag. And you can see my incision sites. There's 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. The glue that they had over them has fallen off, and they look like they're healing up very nicely. So everything looks good there. This is how that belt fits on. There's 2 clips here and 1 on the other side, and it fits. And you want to make sure you wear it excuse me, level, so it keeps the bag against your skin. But I'm finding, like, when I sit down, then the belt rides up and things like that. So not a huge fan of that belt right now. But we'll see how things go in the future. And then there is another belt that's out on the market that just came out called the Stealth Belt. And I think I talked with you about it before. It's black. You can get some different colors, but the main kind is black. It's probably about that wide, and it goes around your whole abdomen. There's a pouch inside that you put your bag in. You feed your bag through the belt, and then you can put your bag inside another pouch. And it looks like a lumbar or back support belt that you wear. You could go to the beach and things like that, or for intimate times in the bedroom. So I'm going to look into getting that. I've heard the one issue is normally your bag hangs vertically. With the Stealth Belt, you have to wear your bag horizontally off to the side. And there's a couple issues with that. Because it's horizontal, you may have to empty it more frequently because the output isn't going to necessarily travel horizontally, and it can fill up a little quicker. And then that can break down the adhesive on your bag a little quicker if the waste is around that area. And the other thing I've heard is it's hard to empty your bag because when your bag is attached horizontally, you can't really just twist the whole bag down and get all the output to come out like you normally can. So I'm going to research that a little bit more because I know that can be a whole new technique with how to drain the bag and things like that. But the reason I want to get it, especially at work, is just so the bag is not hanging down on you. And then when I go to the gym and things, when I'm changing, I just would rather, I think I'd feel a little bit more comfortable having something like that on. So that's pretty much the update with everything that's going on. Status post-colectomy with the bag. I feel like I'm pretty much back to myself because I'm not back to work yet. And I also met with the hepatologist last Thursday about my PSC. Everything in regards to that seems stable. There's been no changes since last year and since the 2 years before that. So we just continue to monitor that every 6 months with blood work and once a year with liver MRI. So that was good news too. I can't think of anything else to give you an update on. I think I touched on everything. Again, if you have any questions, you can leave comments below the video, or if you want, you can always email me at ucandpsc@gmail.com. Other than that, I hope you all are having a great fall, and I'll check in with you again probably in a few weeks.